I'm here with Joe, and he's got a few questions about bass playing. So, fire away.
Okay, so when I'm playing, let's just look at some right hand technique issues that I've been having. When I'm playing, should I keep my fingers bent or straight when I'm picking?
Whatever is comfortable is what I tell people, but I mean that's the way I do it. So it's kind of bent, yeah. But also it depends on what position you have your bass, like when you're standing up.
Sure. On
your strike height as well. I mean, ideally we should be practicing like that when we're sitting down.
Right.
To get the best position.
Let's try.
Yeah?
Yeah? Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
So your wrist is in the sort of the best position, and you have
never tried that.
A better kind of access to all the notes, especially up high.
Okay. And would you suggest learning to play over both pickups, or anyway?
Yeah, definitely. Both pickups if you've got them. I mean, some basses only have the single pickup, but yeah, both pickups. I use when I'm playing the B string, then I'm resting my thumb on the pickup. When I'm not playing the B string, I'm resting my thumb on the B string.
Oh, okay.
Or sometimes even on the E string, or kind of rarely, but sometimes there. It's basically for muting and for better positioning.
So you move the anchor point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My most common kind of position is probably there, followed by there. My other bass, you can see the holes that I've dug in with the years of anchoring. But on this one, because it's kind of new, there is no where there yet, but there will be.
Sure. Cool.
There we go.
Another thing that I've seen you do is the 3-finger technique. Could you give us any advice on how to get started with that?
Sure. Yeah. So I learnt this from Matt Garrison, and it's a classical guitar technique, I think. So it's, the way I do it is I play with the thumb first, then third finger, then second finger, then first finger. Yeah. So I'm just playing an E here on the G string. So thumb, third, second, first, thumb. Well, that's just the way I kind of started practicing it. You can go thumb, first, second, third as well.
So you keep your wrist completely still at all times.
Yeah. And then the ways I kind of practicing it, first was just one note and start really slowly. So ideally with a metronome, so I set up a metronome and then speed it up. And then I'd get a scale, for example, like see if we get a C major scale. Yeah. So I'll start with playing each note 4 times the scale. Yeah. And then each note twice. So. Yeah. And then each note once. That takes a bit longer. I'll take your time with it. It takes a long time to develop any technique, so be patient and practice it a lot and consistently. So do a little bit of practice every day is better than doing like a 4-hour session once a week kind of thing.
Okay. Another question I had was just about making up melodic bass lines and how to sort of get out of just playing in the standard shapes that we know.
Okay.
How do you go about sort of coming up with bass lines?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends. So give me an example of something that you've played that you would like to kind of, I don't know, vary it somehow, or
Okay.
kind of.
So. I don't know actually.
Okay, that sounds like a, I don't know, like a Motown kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jameson sort of. I don't know. I mean, it depends very much on the style of music you're playing.
Sure.
What kind of sort of, I don't know, chord progressions you're looking at, but a lot of things can be learnt from just transcribing from records.
Right.
And really learning what kind of note for note what's happening, and that knowledge will hopefully, well, it should be transferable to to your playing when you're playing new songs and new ideas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also, studying music theory and really knowing what notes are available to you at all times of any chord progression
Mm-hmm.
will really help you for note choices. So yeah, studying theory. So applying that knowledge to the bass basically, or to whatever instrument you're playing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent.
So yeah, knowing your triads, knowing your seventh chords, knowing what scales to use over any given chord,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. Chord tones. They're yeah.
Okay.
Really important. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And what kind of things have you transcribed in the past?
All sorts of things. Like, well, I started when I first started playing bass. I was playing rock and metal, so I transcribed loads of rock and metal lines, like So I was really into playing really heavy, but it was good stuff, and learnt how to rock out and play some blues as well. That's one of the first bass runs I learned. So a simple kind of blues pattern, but a lot of rock kind of thing. So I started with that, and then as I got older, I got into different styles of music, some more funk stuff, and then jazz, and all sorts of things. So I transcribed a lot of kind of funk bass lines, like I don't know, some slap things, or some classic bass line. I got into that kind of thing, and more sort of groove bass thing, and then I got sort of tried to do more complex kind of bass, got into Jaco Pastorius kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sort of Teen Town, Donnelly and things, yeah.
Would you suggest that people try and transcribe music instead of going out and just buying the sheet music straight away?
Yeah, well, it's a lot more valuable experience, because you'll be training your ear as well, which is really important. Mm-hmm. It's probably the most important kind of aspect of getting better, is by really training your ear to hear intervals, to hear chords, and all these ideas will go into it. It'll help your vocabulary, and it'll just make you a better player, definitely.
Okay, excellent.
But yeah, do it yourself. Like, whether you could transcribe something note for note and write it out, which is a great thing to do. And it's quite a discipline to do it regularly and to get better at it. Or you can just listen to a piece of music and learn it that way without writing it down, but kind of memorize it, or get like a really good idea of like a certain style of music. You listen to it a lot and get the sort of feel for it, and that's quite a good way of doing.
Sure.
Learning a style, yeah.
And when you transcribe things, do you then try and move them through like the different keys?
It depends.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it depends. If I'm learning a song for a band, for example, I will learn it in the key that is either on the record or suggested by whoever is playing it. But yeah, I mean, it is a good idea to be able to play any given song in any different. I mean, it's easier on the bass because, like compared to other instruments, to transcribe to change the key kind of thing. But I don't really like sit there and learn one song and then try and play it in all different keys. But when I'm practicing jazz standards, then as kind of a sort of, you know, a part of the practice routine is to play maybe one standard in a few different keys.
Yeah.
And do that, yeah.
Okay, excellent. And yeah, you just touched on the practice sort of element there. Would you suggest that like coming up with a routine is a good idea, or would you how do you go about practicing? Do you just sit down with an idea and sort of develop that one idea?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed over the years as I've had to. Yeah, I mean, definitely you need to practice regularly to always improve. But I mean, I've read a lot about it recently, and because teaching at the university, there's lots of students that have different kind of approaches to practice, different kind of habits almost, yeah. And some practice routines won't suit some students, and some will, kind of thing. So one thing that I learned recently that how the brain works and the attention span is that if you spend too long on a very repetitive kind of exercise, your brain will naturally kind of switch off and you won't learn as quickly.
Yeah.
So I've suggested to a lot of my students to do very small snippets, like 3 minutes of sight reading, and 3 minutes of something else, and 3 minutes. So your attention span is always at the fullest.
Very focused, yeah.
So you're not spending a long time on each thing, but you'll go back to that thing. So let's say you have 5 different things you want to work on. Some reading, I don't know, like you're working on a prepared piece, some scale exercises, and maybe some technical exercises. But instead of spending, you know, half an hour or an hour on just doing one thing repetitively until it is perfect, do it for just for a very short period of time, and then move on to something else, and then your attention span will be at its fullest. So therefore, you'll hopefully improve. You'll see an improvement, like a gradual improvement, a lot quicker. Because the other way, it does work. You can sit there and do a repetitive thing over time, but according to this article I read, it's
more effective.
More effective, yeah.
Okay.
Quicker progress. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Isn't it about 20 minutes that you can actually focus on one task?
Well, even less. Like this one that suggests 3 minutes.
3 minutes
on each, and then because then your attention span will be at its highest level every time you're looking at that kind of that exercise or that.
Sure.
And then but it's hard to do that sometimes. If you're learning a song, for example, then you have to just sit there and transcribe it, and you can't. Well, I mean, you could kind of go from one section to another section, but yeah.
Yeah, they're normally longer than 3 minutes, aren't they? So, okay, brilliant.